As a man of Italian descent, I just need to get this off my chest first. We now live in a world where there's a Spider-Man movie that has an Umberto Tozzi song in it. Good night, everybody. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. This is a movie that's full of spoilers, so at some point in this video, I'm just going to put up a big old spoiler warning, and if you don't want to know anything, stop there, my friend. Trust me. So I went into this movie thinking one thing and one thing only. Spider-Man better be very, very far away from his house, or I'm going to call bullshit on the title. Well, luckily, all was well. Spider-Man was in Venice. He was in London. He was in... Spoilers. I can't talk about those other places yet. But he was far from home. He was all over Europe. This is basically National Lampoon's European Vacation, the Marvel version. So if you're a Spider-Man fan, or a Marvel fan, or both, or neither, you're gonna have a good... Well, maybe not if you're neither. But you're gonna have a good time in Spider-Man Far From Home. And if you're like me, you were really, really, really excited for one particular thing, and that one particular thing was getting to see this guy on the big screen in live action. Ever since Spider-Man movies have been coming out, we were always excited to see who the villains are going to be and how they're portrayed in real life and everything. I thought it was so mind-blowing to me back in the day when Spider-Man 2 came out and Dr. Octopus shows up. To me, Dr. Octopus was always, just from what I know from the cartoon, and he had this really strange quasi-Germanic accent where he was like, "Spider-Man, I'm going to kill you now." So it was really interesting to see just a guy with an American accent as Dr. Octopus, because that's more realistic. He's a guy living in New York. He's probably just an American dude who happens to have 4 arms coming out of his spine. Ouch. So the thought of transferring these really cartoonish over-the-top villains into live action was always an interesting concept to me. Every Spider-Man movie that has come out, I've been like, cool, how are they going to do this person? How are they going to do that person? But the one that was always just sort of off to the side, that just seemed too weird, was Mysterio. Just look at this mofo. This guy is so freaking weird. He looks great in the 90s cartoon. He looks great in the comics. He looks great as an action figure. FYI, if somebody wants to get me a Mysterio action figure, I'd be very grateful. But how in the holy mother of Saint Jerome and all the apostles do you take this and make it look good in live action? Well, first of all, you put Jake Gyllenhaal under that bubble because that dude never doesn't look good. And then second, you get the miracle workers who are the costume designers for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know that I should be talking about the movie, and I will, but I need to give props to the costume designers, not just for this, for Marvel in general, because they were never afraid. They never once looked at a costume in a comic book and said, no way, I'm not touching that. This isn't, 1999 where the X-Men are all in leather and they're like, what would you prefer, yellow spandex? We don't care about colors. This isn't that anymore. This is a whole new world where they're just like, yeah, we're gonna take this and make it look good, and voila. I mean, every Marvel character has transformed into the screen with their accurate costumes somehow looking perfectly okay. And Mysterio, the one that I thought was like the weirdest of the weird, like there is no way in hell or heaven or purgatory or Minneapolis or anywhere in between that they are going to make this character look not laughable. And they proved me wrong. So I just need to say the MVP, as far as I'm concerned, of Spider-Man Far From Home is the costume department. Because if they can make Mysterio work, that tells me they can make anybody work. That tells me from now on, the MCU is in good hands in the looks department. No character, no matter how outlandish their wardrobe may be, is going to be off the table if they can make Mysterio look okay. Maybe Galactus. I don't know. Galactus is friggin' weird, man. But enough about that. How was the motion picture? Tell me about the motion picture. Spider-Man Far From Home is great. I like Homecoming better. I thought it was funnier, quicker, sweeter. It had it was paced better and everything like that. I liked the villain in Homecoming better. I preferred Vulture to Mysterio, even though I was just raving about Mysterio. Mysterio was fine. I just preferred the way the Vulture was handled. But that's not a knock against Far From Home. Far From Home is still an outstanding outstanding Spider-Man movie, and it's an excellent MCU movie. If you are looking forward to the really fun, sweet, John Hughesy teen romance story that was really present in part 1, you get a whole lot more of that here. I would say even more so. If you want Spider-Man facing off against a really cool villain, you are going to get that too. You want different Spider-Man outfits? Hey, you got 4 in this movie. You got the regular one, you got the Iron Spider one, you got this stealth suit, and you got this new red and black suit, which personally it's fine with me, but the red and blue is my bread and butter. I hope he goes back to the red and blue in part 3. It's got all the hallmarks of a great Spider-Man movie. There's nothing to hate about Spider-Man Far From Home. It is delightful. It is wonderful. It is everything a good Spider-Man movie should be, and I can't wait already for the next one. Having said that, it's hammer time. And by hammer, I mean spoiler. And by time, I mean don't watch if you don't want to be spoiled. Because, guys, we need to talk about that post-credit scene. I normally wouldn't want to do this in a review, but that scene is so friggin' important. It almost shouldn't have been a post-credit scene. It really shouldn't have. It's so important to the ending, and it is so much more of an ending than before they cut to credits, that it needed to be seen. If anybody got up and walked away, then they actually missed, as far as my opinion is concerned, they missed the actual ending of Spider-Man Far From Home. If anybody was just like, oh, okay, credits are rolling, I don't care about the post-credit scenes, and they left the theater, if you're one of those people, you missed the ending of Far From Home. You did. Because, guys, the secret is out. The secret of who's under the Spider-Man mask is out. Mysterio is a sneaky SOB, and as his last act before succumbing to death by a gunshot, I think it was a bullet that hit him, he told the world who Spider-Man is. It's up there on Times Square. Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and he looks like he's a villain. He framed him. This is very, very reminiscent of the cartoon. In the cartoon, they were always framing Spider-Man for everything. Some guy could rob a bank, and he could be like 7 feet tall and dressed in a gold robe, and somebody will look at him and be like, hey, I think that's Spider-Man robbing a bank, and then Spider-Man would get in trouble for it. They were blaming Spider-Man for everything in the cartoon. I'm pretty sure Spider-Man got blamed for Chernobyl. I'm pretty sure that was a thing. So we're starting to see that now. The MCU's going in that direction. Spider-Man's been a beloved hero, in all the movies we've seen him in so far. Now, he's the menace. He's the menace that a lot of people are suspicious of. He's the menace that cartoon was always presenting. He's on the run. He's a loner. He has no allies because people don't trust him. That's the Spider-Man that I grew up with, and that's starting to come to the forefront of things. And when the public is frightened of something, they sort of need a mouthpiece to guide them in the right direction. And you all know where this is going. In what might be the most jaw-dropping moment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who comes sauntering back on screen but friggin' J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson? He's back! He's back! Thank every god there is for this moment. Thank every god there is. Except you, Poseidon. I don't like you. Here's the thing. Hollywood knew they messed up when they made that shitty reboot, Amazing Spider-Man, back whatever year that was, 2012. They knew they messed up because there was no way in hell they were going to find anybody to play J. Jonah Jameson as good as or better than J.K. Simmons. It's not going to happen. The only person who I think, in all honesty, and this is going to sound like a joke, but it's not, the only person who I think could play him better is Tom Hanks. If you watch the movie The Post, Tom Hanks pretty much is a guy who's like J. Jonah Jameson, and he almost has that accent too. He's got that voice to him. But other than Tom, there literally nobody in the world could play that role better than Mr. Simmons. And I think the smartest thing that the Amazing Spider-Man duology ever did was sort of acknowledging this by not even bothering to recast him. And even the MCU. The MCU brought back Spider-Man now. We've seen him a bunch of times. Even they were like, let's pace ourselves, because that is just that. Again, that's a high standard. That's a high bar that was set. But now we're there, baby. Now we're there. Phase 3 ends with Mr. Jameson himself popping up. I'm so glad this happened. It's not like his schedule's full. It's not like they're calling Commissioner Gordon back in the DCEU anytime soon. I think it's safe to say we've got Mr. Simmons for the long haul. Please don't let me be wrong about that. Speaking of the end of Phase 3, before we leave, there's another little Easter egg that I wanted to share with you, just in case anybody missed it. At the end of the film, when Spider-Man is swinging around with MJ, they're on the ground talking to one another, and behind MJ, you can see a sign along the street unveiling a new subway stop. And the sign has 3 stops. It says Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, question mark. And on top of that, it says, we can't wait to show you what we have planned next. They might as well have had like a billboard with Kevin Feige next to it going, stay tuned. Tune in to San Diego Comic-Con, Hall H. I love that sign. That sign just got me so excited, and what a perfect place to put it, right at the end of Phase 3, right at the end of this enormous culmination of, I guess we're calling it the Infinity Saga. I'm okay with that. To tease the future, what the future holds, and if they're excited about what the future holds, I can only imagine how we're going to take it. I can't wait. Bring on Phase 4. I'm so excited for this. Just bring it. Just bring it. My body is ready. That's the moral of the story. So that is Spider-Man Far From Home, the only Spider-Man movie to feature both J. Jonah Jameson and an Umberto Tozzi song. What a wonderful world we live in. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you here next time, and until then, adios.